Hi everyone, Melanie here. Welcome back to my channel. Just a quick video to say that you don't need to fight for love. Just my personal opinion. I wanted to share with you my thoughts about what love is, and I think that it doesn't require abuse. It doesn't need pain or suffering to be present in a relationship in order for love to flourish. Right? You don't need to go out of your way to convince someone to love you. If you find that you're having to prove yourself to your partner, and that's not to say that if we've done someone wrong that we shouldn't practice atonement and make reparations, of course, absolutely. But if you find that you're just forever doing this, you're forever having to prove yourself to your partner and it's just never enough. Is this love, really? Two humans can coexist in a harmonious state when they have the full capacity to love, when they can fully relate to heart, like there's no issues blocking how one relates to heart. And I mean this obviously symbolically, not literally. When I say relating to heart, I mean to be able to fully love and to be empathic, and not just when it suits you, but to practice empathy even when you're angry or upset. To be compassionate, to be considerate of others like this. It's easier to experience love and to be loved and to give love when we don't have blockages that would impede on our ability to relate to heart and to love others. Trauma can seriously impact our ability to relate to heart. And we see this with intimacy issues. Intimacy, as I've said in previous videos, we create these walls around our heart, so to speak, because it's been too painful to love in the past. Trust issues, okay? They can't trust that if they love someone that they're not going to get hurt. And people with BPD do have trust issues, but they've had this since early childhood. And more often than not, you do find with BPD that they have anxious ambivalent attachment disorder. They can't trust that mum is going to be there when they say they will be there. And they can't trust mum that will be nice mum. They can't trust that mum will be angry mum. They don't know which mum that they're going to get. So you can understand how a child who has a BPD mother and perhaps has BPD themselves, that they would have trust issues from early childhood because they can't trust in the consistency of mum or whichever parent figure that was traumatizing. If you feel like you are needing to prove yourself to your BPD partner and it's to no avail, you just keep trying and it's just not working. If anything, it seems to be putting them off, or for whatever reason the narrative is still going that you're the villain, and no matter what you're doing, no matter what you've tried to do, no matter what you say, what you do, it's just not good enough. And you're wondering, well, why? What did I do wrong that they don't love me anymore? Consider that with BPD, that feelings are facts and they haven't developed object constancy. And for people who haven't developed object constancy, it means that they will see the world as black and white. And where you initially were painted white and likely elevated, idealized, it is unrealistic to live in that person's expectations. Like, no one can stay fully painted white. It's a matter of time before reality kicks in and you say something or do something that your partner doesn't approve of, and give it time, you'll be painted black. And when someone is painted black, well, when you've been painted black, it means that you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Someone who wants to see you in a certain way will look for anything to confirm what they're feeling, to confirm their thoughts that you are this certain way. Often people who have BPD have a very, very sensitive personality and often will take perceived slights to be direct insults. And as such, it means that they can be easily defensive and take things very personally, make a mountain out of a molehill, so to speak. And considering that for them, feelings are facts, and for anyone who hasn't mastered their feelings and for anyone who's not mindful about their thoughts, what happens is that they get lost in what their feelings are telling them. They get lost in the story that their anger tells them. And what goes hand in hand with anger but entitlement? I am entitled to act this way because I'm angry. And what happens when we're in this state? Empathy goes out the window. This is why relationships with people with BPD can seem so fickle. Now consider this. A healthy relationship is not a brittle one. A healthy relationship isn't brittle. It is normal to make mistakes, all right? And it's also expected to be able to communicate with your partner and to be heard and to be able to make reparations and to improve upon things. I mean, if you love someone, you stick around and try to make it work, right? If you love someone and you see that they are making an effort, does that not mean that we can then forgive and move on with the relationship? But this is a problem when dating someone with BPD, because they struggle with fully forgiving. And I think that this is the pain from the past and issues of control. That when they are punishing you, they feel like they have control over you and they feel this sense of power, which perhaps feeds a part of them from the past that felt disempowered from the abuse that they experienced. So this is why, in my opinion, relationships with people who have BPD can be so brittle. Why they seem so fickle. Maybe they are just fickle people. Sometimes people are like this, but looking deeper below the surface, consider if someone is so sensitive that any perceived slights will be taken as a direct insult, and considering that their feelings are facts, it doesn't take much for them to justify their anger, and it doesn't take much for them to rationalize why they want to leave and just leave. When the fantasy bubble has been burst for your borderline partner, it won't be soon long after that they'll leave. When the fantasy bubble bursts and reality starts to seep in, then that's when perhaps they'll look for reasons to leave. They're not happy. And really our happiness is within. We need to look within ourselves to heal the source of unhappiness. But for people who aren't ready to do that, and for people who are externalizing the locus of control, they will look for reasons to blame others, to explain why they're unhappy, to rationalize their anxiety. It's other people's fault. And does that not then make sense that they may be easy for them to jump ship and move to someone else or to a different location? And that could be a reason why they can be quite fickle. And it's not necessarily to do with you. Obviously you contribute towards this, but really it's them wanting to leave that fantasy and perhaps start a new fantasy again. To grow in a relationship is to be able to grow up. Each person within the relationship needs to be growing up and maturing, as well as putting the effort on the relationship as well, making the effort to improve the relationship. And that's when you can get a really, really healthy relationship in which synergy is created. Imagine this, when two people are able to fully work on themselves and they are working on the relationship, the love that's created and sustained is healing, it's uplifting, it makes you into a better person, a healthier person, a wiser person. When you are dating someone who is so dysfunctional and traumatized that they struggle with allowing themselves to be vulnerable, they struggle with being intimate, they have so many issues relating to how they relate to heart, they have lots of blockages around their heart, lots of walls. What happens is that you end up being worn out. It's like you love someone so much and you're trying to help and it's just coming to no improvement. Nothing's really changing the relationship and you get worn out. And then the love in this relationship that you experience is coming at the cost of your own mental health, your own sanity, your own physical health. The love in this relationship, when it's a dysfunctional relationship, is one that is bringing you down, is destroying you, is leaving you a shell of a person. This isn't a healthy love. You're becoming worse and your partner's not improving. And it's just the same circular arguments, the same themes that keep popping up. Nothing gets resolved. So, is that the kind of love that you want? And I'm saying this because I know that there are a lot of people watching these videos who aren't happy in their relationship, but they don't want to leave because it's what they know, it's what they're familiar with. And perhaps they think that they deserve this love. You know what? We experience the love that we think we deserve. So perhaps if this rings true to you and you're in a relationship in which you feel stuck, it's not going anywhere, and perhaps you don't want to leave because you're worried about you'll be all alone, and the fear of loneliness is worse than the pain of what you're going through right now. And that's completely understandable because it's the fear of the unknown, right? It's risky making that brave step to leave a relationship which is going nowhere. And isn't this an act of self-love? To love yourself enough that you know that you deserve better. You know that you deserve to be in good health. You know that you deserve to be happy. And if you feel like you don't deserve this, perhaps some counselling will help. Drop me an email. I can help with this. And consider this, all right? If you're dreaming about a relationship which is bigger than what you've got now, if you're really unhappy in your relationship and you want unconditional love, you just want to be seen, you want to be held, you want to feel intimacy, and perhaps you're struggling with this in your relationship that you have with your personality disorder partner, you know, you do have a choice. Every passing moment is a chance to turn it all around. It really is. And it's believing that you will be okay in the unknown. In that void where you're not where you want to be, but you've taken the bold leap of faith into the unknown, it's okay. Trust that it will be okay. And this is just temporary. Winter needs to happen in order for the leaves to die and for the new buds to emerge in spring. There needs to be trust that you will be okay. And trust and love go hand in hand, in my personal opinion. So if you're in a relationship and you're wanting to leave and you're not feeling brave enough, you're not feeling strong enough, know that you are not alone. I hear from people like you a lot, people who are in pain and feel like they're going through this by themselves, and you're really not alone. These relationships can be the loneliest though, and this is the irony of it, to want to stay in a relationship with someone who isn't healthy for you because you fear being by yourself. And yet these relationships can be the loneliest because you're not seen. Your reality is constantly being denied. You're being treated like a villain, and yet you're the one who's being victimized. It's a very confusing relationship to be in with someone who's personality disordered. So if you need help making sense of this, please know that I'm just an email away. That's the best way to contact me. Drop me an email. I offer a Q&A service if you would just rather have my perspective about whether you should leave, should stay, what's going on. I'm happy to offer my perspective outside of counselling. Okay, that's it for today. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll be back soon. Bye for now.